All right, so like Alex said, and like I said earlier, we're going to preview this Giants-Lions game on Friday, just like we intended to do, and that is 5 players to watch. What 5 players are we looking at that are not, I mean, yes, they are going to be starters in the regular season. Maybe they're rookies, they're youngsters, people we haven't seen before. I'm just going to get right into it, and number 1 is going to be Jalin Hyatt. It makes a lot of sense. It's the speed. He's a rookie. We traded up for him. There's a lot of hype about Jalin Hyatt going into the regular season. And let's see what he does against the Lions in the preseason. I don't think the Giants are going to rest. It's going to suck, by the way, if any of these guys are actually rested on Friday. And it's going to be a little bit, I mean, not embarrassing because we didn't know it was coming. It's just going to be upsetting. But I don't think Hyatt will rest because people are going to want to see him, and I think the Giants coaching staff is going to want to see him as well. How can he run routes? That's another big thing. Yes, we know he has the speed, and he could do a go route whenever he wants to get open deep. But the thing is, at Tennessee, that was his main form of offense and of his playmaking skills was there. We even had the clip that went viral of him talking with an NFL scout or an NFL coach of some sort, where the coach was like, yeah, your one perk is your speed. And he was like, I have a little bit more than that, buddy. Or, coach, as he nicely put it, as a very nice guy, was doing the right thing. See, I would have said buddy if it was me, if he was told that to my face, right? And I thought I was better than that. So we're going to have to see how his route running is and what routes the Giants give him. But that is my number 1 player. Well, not number 1. It's no particular order, but that is the first player that we want to watch in the game on Friday.
All right, the second and third players I'm going to talk about here have actually pretty much been facing off against each other all camp. So it's kind of a funny one. But the first one we got is John Michael Schmitz, center. He's had a pretty solid camp besides a few reps against Dexter Lawrence. But then again, who can say anything about that? No one's blocking Dexter Lawrence one-on-one, especially when you're looking at the size comparison between the two. Schmitz, obviously a second-round pick, a lot of high hopes. Pretty much penciled in to be the starting center. And it'll be interesting to see how he gets along on Friday, whether it is with Daniel Jones or Tyrod Taylor or even Tommy DeVito in terms of his snap style, adjusting to the NFL rhythm and stuff like that. Nick Filato actually pointed this out on Twitter. I did not notice it in the original clip, but during the clip that the Giants released today of that Darius Slayton touchdown, or the 2-point conversion on the Darius Slayton off of a touchdown, Jones to Darius Slayton on the 2-point conversion. There you go. That's a better way of saying it. Jones kind of steps up in the pocket before throwing it to the corner of the end zone to Darius Slayton. I didn't notice it. I was just watching Slayton, obviously, against whoever he was going up against, the Lions DB. But if you notice, the reason Jones is able to step up in the pocket, and Nick Filato mentioned this, it's because John Michael Schmitz had such a good rep against whoever the interior defensive lineman was of the Lions. And he won that rep so well that Jones was able to step up into the clean pocket and deliver that ball to Slayton for the 2-point conversion. So I'm excited to see hopefully more of that on Friday. I'm sure there's going to be some bumps and bruises along the way, but an exciting player to watch. And then moving to the other side of the ball, we got Jordon Riley, who was a 5th-round rookie out of Oregon. A player who came in, a lot of people just said, okay, he's just coming in because he's huge. He's humongous. You saw that in the rookie practices, or in the training camp practices, where he just looked humongous. Even next to Dexter Lawrence, he looked big, and that's saying something. And he kind of had a slow start to camp, not a lot mentioning him, not much around him altogether. But as certain players started to get injured, we saw some rest days for players like Leonard Williams, Nacho. We saw more and more Jordon Riley reps, and eventually even got to see him with the first team on the second day of Lions-Giants joint practices, where he was going up against some of the Lions starting interior linemen. He was winning a lot of reps. He had a couple of good run stops, according to Talking Giants, I think I saw on their Twitter. And he's a player who has slowly been getting into the rhythm of things in the NFL, and I'm interested to see how he does against some of those more backup offensive linemen that he'll probably be facing against the Lions on Friday night.
Our next player here, so it'd be number 4 on the list, and the story writes itself for this guy. It's Deonte Banks. He's our first-round pick. He's a guy that you're going to want to see on the field. Struggled the first few days of Giants training camp. Let's not get it wrong. We're going to see how he faces the Detroit Lions wide receivers. Do you think Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to play, Alex? That's a question we're going to ask. If he does, Deonte Banks is probably going to face him. If he plays, that would make sense, right? I'm trying to think of like other wide receivers that are on the Lions. And
They got DJ Chark, I believe, is still there. He's a pretty solid wideout. They've got who else? They obviously have Jameson Williams. I assume he'll be participating despite the fact that he's suspended for the first 6 weeks for the gambling, I think was his issue, right? I think. I'm not sure. Maybe it was something else, but I'm pretty sure it was the gambling. But yeah, so the Lions have a decent receiving core. I feel like they drafted a receiver this year too, Josh. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I said maybe they drafted a receiver this year. I'm not sure.
I'm looking right now. Sorry, actually. That's why I was like, what? They have Denzel Mims.
Yeah, they traded for him from the Jets, yeah.
They have Marvin Jones Jr. as well.
Yep.
And Josh Reynolds. So
some decent guys.
The main guy I'm looking for is Amon-Ra St. Brown, if he does play, and Deonte Banks plays, if he's going to square up against him, and how that is going to work out. But anyway, sorry, that took longer than expected because we were going through the Lions wide receiver core. But Deonte Banks is a guy that we're looking forward to seeing on Friday, and let's see what he's got, right? I mean, it's really exciting. We're excited to see him play. Let's just hope he plays well.
Yeah, and I mean, the wide receivers are relevant for this next guy, too, with Tre Hawkins. I just realized, by the way, all 5 of our players, we didn't even think about it this way. We weren't trying to do anything in any specific way. But all 5 of these players are rookies from this year's class, which I guess is kind of goofy now that I'm thinking of it. But, Josh and I sat down and we said, okay, who are we looking forward to? We kind of had a list of 10 to 15 players, and we narrowed it down, and these are the guys we wanted to see. So I guess, we didn't even have in our minds like, oh, we want to do rookies or not rookies or whatever it may be. So this might just show you how strong this rookie class is, or at least we hope it could be. Because of how many players we have on this list. But anyway, let me get back to the 5th and final player, Tre Hawkins, who has been the training camp standout. He has kind of blown all expectations out of the water, a 6th-round pick, 199th overall, I believe. So it was just, it's been really surprising how well he's been doing. He's been getting first-team reps recently, obviously later in regular Open Giants training camp, and then again in joint practices with the Lions. Apparently he was doing really, really well in one-on-one drills against the Lions wide receivers, some of those who you just mentioned, Josh, Marvin Jones, Josh Reynolds, Amon-Ra. So, lots of good talent on that team. And, I think Tre Hawkins, we got to see what he looks like in a full game situation. Is he going to be as good as he looks in camp, right? All the time you see these training camp standouts. David Sills is the first name that comes to mind, who looks great in practice, but then when it gets to game time, he just doesn't look the same. Is that going to be what Tre Hawkins is like? We all are hoping not, right? But you never know. So, he's got to back up what his play has been on the practice field, on the football field, on the actual stadium football field, I should say. So that's our 5th and final player for these 5 players to watch.
And just to recap the 5 players, so we remind everyone who we're looking forward to, and you can put it down in your notepads for yourselves as well. Number 1 is Jalin Hyatt, again in no particular order, but 1 is Jalin Hyatt, 2 is JMS, John Michael Schmitz, 3 is Jordon Riley, 4 is Deonte Banks, and 5 is Tre Hawkins.